so alive. Hi, let's talk. Hi, let's talk. No more, no less. No more, no
Welcome
less.
back to Hi, Let's Talk No More, No Less. I go by the name Ademola Oyediro, but a sure guy will be can call me Dede, right? So tonight we are closing our eyes to see better, right? We are talking about the unseen force that defines every great story, which is sound. For those who don't know me, I'm approaching this from my world as an actor. I know firsthand how a bad rhythm or a missed cue can kill a great performance. But before we get into it, the Empress has yet to introduce herself. Empress, go ahead, Abek.
Thank you so much, Demola. That's a wonderful intro. And thank you for calling
Thank
me
you.
Empress.
No?
Yeah, welcome. Welcome back once again to Hi Let's Talk. No more, no less. I remain your host, Oluwatoyosi A, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host and our wonderful guest today. Thank you so much for being with us. I am a storyteller and I'm a creative director. I am so passionate about how we shape stories and how they're experienced, and that's why I'm here. And as Demola said, today we are closing our eyes to see better. I believe
Yes,
that's
sir.
all. So let's get on with it.
Yes, yes. So before we continue, make una come buy wetin Toyo dey sell o. Wọ́n ti potentialize
Yes, so
ọmọ.
they tell many things. So, I dey do makeup, I dey do video, I dey do design, I dey host. Come and buy what I'm selling.
Thing wey she no dey do. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. The power of sound in film and theater. To help us break this down, and this is sort of a treat for me. We have a true artist in the building. He's a film and theater artist, a jazz drummer, and someone who truly understands the soul of a sonic landscape. If you notice my voice suddenly got deeper, that's because when this man starts to speak with that deep voice, you can't help but listen.
Oh,
Please
goodness.
welcome Akinbodewa, popularly known as Elder Monk or Monk for short. Monk, it's a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. For
Yes.
my non-Yorubas, I have to apologize in advance. Orimiwu, so thank you very much.
Ṣé ká lági mọ́?
No, please. I'm dealing with enough in Nigeria already.
Not true. All right. Thank you, Monk. Okay, Monk, I know there's something missing from my intro. How about you briefly tell our fine listeners who you are and what you do?
Okay. So my name on the government approval edge is Akinbodewa Adebayo, but I mostly go by Monk, and I am someone who is greatly involved with stories. I like to look at the world from a lens that there is no truth, really. I like to look at the world as X equals X, that the world is what it is. And storytelling for me is trying to see how we can take that X equaling X in its most undiluted form ever, really. And that has me passing through many mediums of this storytelling, really, through visual arts, which encompasses my life around production architecture, set design, mural painting, wall painting, fashion painting. There's also my life on the aspect of performance, or on the aspect of audiovisual media, which is film and theater, respectively, where I am a performer, an actor, a voiceover artist, a director, and in fact, I do dare say in recent times a producer as well. But in the life of music, I am a jazz drummer, and I'm an ensemble director. I'm an orchestra director, as well as a film scorer. And this area of my life is one that it's very interesting, because if there was anything that I saw myself not doing in the art space, it was this. So to think that over the space of just about 7 years, I've come to fall in love with it so deeply and come to push myself as far as I have to be in the presence of a couple of people that I never thought I'd remotely be around in the music space. It's one that it's highly wonderful to withhold in my own opinion. So yeah, that's about it.
That's a fantastic one, actually. And
Very
coming back to the X equal X thing, guy, if we're discussing math here, I might as well just check out of this conversation.
Oh
But
my god,
anyways,
you and me both.
guys, now to the conversation. Monk, I know you first as an actor because that's how we met. Yeah. Then I realized you were also a jazz drummer and a man of the arts. If you guys have seen this man handle a blank canvas before, but let me not get started. Anyways, before I get ahead of myself, I want us to dive into the areas where music and story meet. So my first thing basically is okay, let's ease ourselves into the conversation with this. Monk, as a drummer, I sort of have this belief that drummers live and die by the beat, right? So when you're watching a film or a play, can you sort of hear when the director or the editor has no rhythm? Like how much of a good movie is actually just the sound and the visuals hitting the right beats together? Monk, do you have an answer to that?
Well, yes, but I mean, it's not really a definitive answer like 2 + 2 = 4 because
Oh,
our
it doesn't
world,
have to be.
right? So it's a myriad of answers really, but I would like to shorten it down to a couple. So the thing is with a lot of movies really, or a lot of film, what really makes a good film scorer, or what makes a good relationship between a film scorer and the director when it comes to rhythm is understanding what works. Now, for the most part, if you're already going to be in that space of that professional space of scoring a film, it's not like you would lack the ability to play on beat. So the problem is not really skill of keeping up to beat or keeping up to rhythm. The problem is interpretation. The problem is knowing what works, is knowing how to pace, how to pace and pace properly, how to make sure that you're watching the film and you're letting the music flow along with it. Because the thing is, the music, at least for most sounds that are not musicals or like a sort of rendition, it becomes some sort of problem when you begin to notice the sound differently from the film, because some people would call film, they call it a visual art, and I usually disagree with them a lot of times. Film is not really visual. Film is everything. It's the I dare say ubiquitous medium. It goes around everything, So if there is now, sorry,
It's the audio, it's the visual, it's the audio, it's everything else mixed
yes,
together.
it's everything together. Anything works in film, So the moment something now begins to stand out, it means that there is no symphony anymore. The moment you're hearing a piece of music and you can hear one thing standing out too much, then it means the music is not flowing. Except, of course, in our own African style, where we have a lot of syncopation, But that itself is almost besides the point, because when the syncopation is going on, the idea is that every other thing behind it should not be all too obvious. And the syncopation is performative music, but in film, a lot of soundtrack should go more with the visuals. They should go more with the pacing of what the actors are. Sorry, I think I got lost there for a while. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I hear you.
And not against the music, unable to tie it together. There's an instance, a very specific instance of this from Mad Max, Fury Road. Mad Max, yes, a very goated film. So there's a point where one of the trucks dies out on the road. One of the people that are chasing Max and the other women from the harem of the God, I can't quite remember his name. And then one of them, right, so one of their trucks breaks down on the road. Now, for context, there is a sound that they use throughout the film, because whenever there's a chase, there's always like this huge truck in the middle playing music and all of that. Yes. So the music has it has a pattern in which it's quite a fast pattern. It's almost like a 6/8 really. So it goes like a bum 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 bum. So what they did was that to transition into that song, when that truck broke down, they started to hit the truck and they started to hit the truck to get it work, to get the sound out of the engine. And by the fifth strike, they go straight into the music. So they go into the fifth strike so that it doesn't feel like they're playing on rhythm, so that it doesn't feel like they are leading the drums. It feels like they're just hitting something, and then it transitions smoothly because they're not trying to make music with the engine. They are trying to use that as a point of transition. Whereas most people, most unexperienced directors or film scorers might try to make that engine hit, might try to make it rhythmic. In that way, it now becomes a performance rather than a transition into where the music is actually really needed. So that's in my mind's eyes an example of where the visual can really hit the part with the beat, or the beat can accompany the visual into the next action.
That makes sense. So, do you have thoughts?
Yeah. Wonderful breakdown. You got me thinking of two particular movies whose score has like gotten to me. When you first of all mentioned that when you start noticing something like it becomes like, let's say it takes you aback when this thing doesn't blend. It means that it wasn't properly mixed well into the whole art form. And I feel good art sometimes, apart from standing out, it can be invisible because it just seems like something that is meant to be there, even though it's something that was added. So let me think of, there's this show I watched. It's French. It's a French film animation. I love that. No, I know Emily Paris. I Lost My Body. That's the title.
The one with the hand?
Yes, wonderful.
Oh, yes.
The music is great.
Yeah.
I watched it on a rainy day, and after the film finished, I feel just like I went straight into Spotify to just go and listen to it, with that rain. Like, it was a perfect, I feel like there's a perfect time sometimes to watch a film. It just makes the static of a rainy day. Everywhere was dark. I watched that stuff, and I was like, wow, what a very wonderful score. So for me to even remember it made an impact. And then there's the vibes from Intergalactic. I don't know if you watched that one too.
No, I don't think I have.
In Intergalactic, the way the animation and everything blended together, it stood out. It's blended well with the universe. So I just really love how you were able to explain that. And that's going to inevitably lead us into the next thing, which is with your, experience in all this and all this. How much can sound shape the emotion in a scene, even more than the visuals themselves? What are your thoughts on that?
Wow. So this question is one that, if I'm permitted, I could talk for a full day on. And there's so much that goes on with this. It's like there's so much, but I'll tie it to
Demola.
Yeah, I'll tie it down to a specific film,
Yes,
right?
please.
And I'm tying to this film because of the fact that the film score is mostly jazz drumming, right? So it's a film by Alejandro Inarritu. It's called Birdman. Yes, Michael Keaton. So when he was going to do the film, Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, the best, really. Naomi Watts as well. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So when Inarritu was going to do the film, right, he wanted something. If there's anything to be known about Inarritu, really, is that his music is usually very, very top notch. From Babel to The Revenant. I think both Babel and Revenant have won Academy Awards for Best Sound, really. Yes. In fact, Birdman itself, I think it won in 2016 or 2017 as well. So Inarritu is known for that. But for the film, Birdman, he collaborated with Antonio Sanchez. Now, Antonio Sanchez is a jazz drummer. And Antonio Sanchez is an octopus in real life, because he has this way of playing with his foot like you would play with your hand. The speed, the rhythm, everything. So he has a way of breaking whatever limit you think drumming is. He has a way of breaking it down in which he can play polyrhythms that are way beyond the encapsulation of the regular human mind, really. So in the film now, there's something very special that they do, right? The jazz drum is almost always playing, really. It's almost always playing, but then it's jazz drumming in itself is one that is characterized by an almost ever present lack of I dare say peace, right? But then in the film, there's a way that Antonio Sanchez gets around that piece in which there's chaos that sounds like peace, that sounds like tranquility, that sounds like self-reflection, whereas there is chaos that sounds like conflict, there is chaos that sounds like agitation. And the way it does is sometimes through pace, sometimes through variety. For instance, there is so they made an album for the song eventually. An album for all the scores on the song. There's one that is called The Anxious Battle for Sanity, right? And the song was basically a juxtaposition of all the things that the main character, Regan Thompson, I'm thinking, went through. His inability to let go of his past influences from the character that he played, which is the Birdman himself. And the way he takes that sound is basically the insanity there is not the main character really in the song. The song tends towards rhythm. It tends towards ostinato, really. And ostinato is basically a repeating pattern or repeating a backbeat of sorts. So there will be points in the music in which the drum would tend towards an ostinato, and then the drum might begin to slow down, and it goes into something else. So the insanity there, for the most part of the song, wasn't really about an abrupt stop into chaos. It wasn't really about breaking chaos. It was about flowing chaos, really. It was about, imagine losing yourself to the madness, but you're not in control, because the line between insanity and sanity is blurred so deep and blurred so vaguely with transition, with orchestration, So you are not being pushed into the madness by Antonio Sanchez. You're being welcomed by it. You're being enveloped slowly, really. Sorry?
I said it's as in the madness is inevitable, so it might as well just draw you in.
Yes, it might as well just happen, So it is pieces like this that are able to push the motion, the momentum. There's a point where he has an argument with Edward Norton outside. They go into a bar, they walk out of the theater, then they go in through a bar. And not only does the music play the height, but whenever the actors stop and they stop to talk, it's almost like the music stops with them as well. And maybe he's just playing on the crash, just lightly on the crash, like it. So that gives you suspense, so a little bit of suspense. And then the minute they begin to speak again, it goes into a full 4/4 or 6/4 pattern. And it's simply just wonderful. It's not essentially about a sustained path of music, but it's about ups and downs, following the piece, as in life itself has a general backbeat, and it's our emotions, it's our conflicts that now raise or lower the tension as we go in life.
Wonderful. Wow. Thank you for that breakdown. I love the fact that you were using, terms, musical terms, well, because it's not necessarily my field in that way. I'm not so familiar with it, but it made me realize, you have the right words for what you are choosing to say. And you gave us a lovely breakdown of that. And thank you for doing it less than 24 hours.
I tried my best.
Speaking of terminologies here, it's so something I'm about to ask myself. So a lot of people like me in the past, stress in the past, right? confuse scoring a film with just putting music on top of it. From your perspective as an artist, when does a piece of music stop being a song? And when does it start being a score? Can a movie be perfectly scored using only natural sounds and no music instruments at all? I think those are two separate questions. But the first one, right? Like, when does a piece of music stop being a song? When is it a score? When do we get scores? What is the difference between score and just music?
Okay, so I'd answer that question, but I want to get what you mean by natural sounds so that when we're on the same wavelength.
Right. So natural sounds can mean like just the birds of the air just making their normal chirps. And that could play throughout an entire film. They won't play a single piece of sheet music. They won't play a single piece of music throughout, right? It will just be just ambience. Do you get what
Okay.
I'm saying? And
Yes.
those
So
sounds serve as scores.
okay, so now the thing is, and I guess I should have made this, I should have explained this disparity in the beginning, right? So for sound in music, there are two, I don't want to call them dichotomies because they're not all too different, but there are two words. There's sound design and then there's music scoring. So sound
Okay.
design deals with what you would normally hear in the world. So there are sounds like ambience, which deals with the sound of the environment. Maybe you're living in a cityscape, and then you have a lot of sounds of cars honking and all of that. Foley sounds are more sounds that do with sorry,
Sound effects, like
sound effects.
or the punches, stuff like
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. So those are the words of Foley. But when it comes to sound, when it comes to music scoring, music more deals with it deals with a lot of aspects, but I'll try to put it down to three. It deals first with pacing. That's pacing of tension. Then it deals, so pacing of tension, an example of that would be Birdman, just as I have mentioned. It deals with emotion, right? And an example of this would be The Pianist, by Adrian Brody, played by Adrian Brody. Yes, where there's a lot of mournful music because of what he's going through. Yeah, so we are describing his emotion through the music. But then the third part itself is music in the performance, which is a whole nother world on its own, so I won't get into that now. But music in the performance as well, which an example of that is Soul, which is an animation. I see that Oluwatoyosi, my host, seems to be a lover of animation, and I applaud that really, because one of my earliest professions. Sorry?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, one of my earliest professions was actually being a comic artist. I used to draw comics. I started off my own cinematic universe, but then, well, Nigeria is Nigeria, so that's that. But Soul is an example of music in the film itself. So for that part, music then would now be orchestrated. So in some music design or some music scoring, they can get songs that have already been made. We use a lot of that in Nollywood. They'll get music that has already been sung, maybe as a tribute, as something, and then they put it. They get permission, of course, from the artist in question, and they put it over the film. So that's an example of that. Or they make their own piece, right? But for the most part, proper film scoring is not essentially just choosing sounds that have already existed. It's making sound to fit the purpose of the film. Now, if you want to make it hip, that's fine. It's very much possible that you can score a film song with a lot of lyrics, with a lot of hip style. There's a film called Queen and Slim. I don't know if anyone here has seen Queen and Slim.
Familiar.
Yes. So, they got a lot of artists from all around the world, especially in pop, in the pop genre, in rap, and they got them to make songs, an album, and they use it for their film. In fact, they got Burna Boy on their film as well. It sampled Fela's Shakara Loje, sampled it into My Money, My Baby, So there's that as well is an example of music scoring. But for music scoring that can involve natural sounds, it takes a lot of skill for the... Now, I wouldn't say that there's an almost perfect version of a film that doesn't have any type of music at all. I guess the closest that I could mention is No Country for Old Men. And No Country for Old Men, being a neo-Western that it is, explored a lot of themes that would stereotypically not be expected. So when I first heard of No Country for Old Men, it came with a lot of hype. You know, it inherited a lot of hype for me. I was seeing edits all over the place. I was seeing the Shigura character. I was expecting so much of a craze, like an epic battle. And not to spoil this for anyone, but then you'll be surprised, you know, because I don't know who might be listening and hasn't seen the film. But first off, through the film, there isn't a lot. In fact, maybe not any really, but from what I can recall, about 80% of the sound in the film is either Foley or ambient. There isn't a lot of sound to put up tension or to put up fear or to put up excitement. And because of how unusual that is, that's what makes the moments in the film even more terrifying, you know. Yes, some sort of gravitas in which it's almost like the director is telling you, we're not playing, we're not trying to scare you or anything. This is real. This is 100% present. This is not a man listening to something that is going to give him the motivation to fly up and be the main character and defeat the bad guy. This is him being, in a precarious situation that might end his life, you know. So there's a lot of gravity in that aspect. But of course, that doesn't really, I can't really cite that much as an example of musical scoring in that aspect of natural sounds. I guess the best for that aspect, although they do have one or two instances in which they use this sort of lyrical music, but then and permit me to butcher the name, God help me, it's called Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring, I'm guessing. Please, if I am wrong and there are any subtitles to help me, please, editor, do help my life. I have a repetition trouble. But it's a very quiet film, you know. It's about a monk who is teaching a younger monk on the virtues of life, on the virtues of barest minimum of solitude and of mysticism, really. But then the young monk falls in love when a young girl comes to receive healing. In a young girl of his age, of course, no sort of pedophilia here, really. But when a young girl of his age comes to the house on the lake where they live to receive healing, and from there it's a whole, I don't want to say it goes downhill, but it sort of does go downhill. But through the film, there's a lot of silence. In fact, if my calculation is correct, the film only has about 12 to 24 lines of dialogue, 12 to 24 sentences, and it's about a 2-hour film, you know. So a lot of the sound there would just be very subtle Tibetan sounds of meditation, alongside a lot of music of the forest, a lot of sound of the forest, of birds, of the trees, of the wind, and all of that. But in truth, there's a difference between sound, natural sounds of the forest, sounds of flora and fauna, really, would be more towards sound design. But for music, it can now be skillfully interpreted to accompany the sound of the forest, the sound of nature, without being too dominant, really.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I think you've perfectly broken down exactly what the difference is between sound design, music scoring, and Foley. So the world of sound is very wide, very expansive. I think just one conversation itself about it's not enough to
at all. Definitely. Really, for film, no one conversation about anything is not really sufficient to
actually. And glad there are 8 billion people on earth to explore different topics altogether, because there's so much to explore in this our world, right?
Yes.
But speaking of sound and knowledge about sound, this episode is brought to you by Ubati for Kombale Academy channel. So Ubati for Kombale Academy, so remember, this live session is being recorded. It will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, so you can always come back to listen again. And of course, registrations are on for the Ubati for Kombale Film Academy. If you are interested in joining the academy, the link is in the bio. Thank you very much. Toyo, back to you. Do you have any thoughts about that? Because I think this is explanation of film scoring or music scoring. Sorry, it leads directly into your question. I think about this diegetic and non-diegetic sound.
Yes, because just getting that, I watched YouTube film analysis on the film Belfast. I have not watched the film Belfast, but
You've seen the film?
oh, please don't crucify me.
Sorry.
I haven't either, so we are on the same boat to your seat.
Thank you.
You've seen the film?
Oh, please, you are the odd one out here because you've seen it. Okay, so yeah, I saw Belfast, and they were just analyzing different parts of it, and that is when I got to hear about diegetic and non-diegetic sound, in which diegetic sound is any sound dialogue that exists in the world of the film that the characters themselves can hear. So, like a dog barking, gate closing, maybe that is in music or fellow interaction with other characters, and otherwise non-diegetic sound, whereby it's only the viewer that can hear that. So let's say in a horror movie, the poor victim character cannot hear the sound of suspense that something bad is about to happen, but the audience can hear that. So we just keep on shouting, "Oh, look behind," something like that. Sorry, they can't hear that. So yeah, it brings me to explore that in film and theater, how do diegetic and non-diegetic sound differently influence the audience's perception of a story? How do you think that those different kind of sounds in different kind of worlds affect the audience's perception of a story?
Now, thank you very much for even reminding me that this is film and theater, because I feel like I've given a lot of prejudice towards film. So let's bring it back to the world of theater for a while. So although I will still have to go back to film because I have quite an excellent arrangement for this. Really, I've always thought about it ever since I got into music, what the difference is, right? But for theater, right, the sound that the audience can hear but the actors cannot hear is one that gives them, that holds their hand almost like a guide, towards the action of the film, or a foreshadowing towards what's going to happen next. Because the thing is, theater is very, very delicate, right? The only rewatch quality that theater has is when it's recorded, and that is a little bit redundant because theater is focused on live performances. So it's like a tautology to watch. So for the most part, we want audiences to get it on the first go. So for theater, there is usually a lot of usage of such sound in which the actor, the actress, the people cannot hear, right? The only reason why the opposite of that might not be the most illustrious example is that there is so much use of music by the performers in theater as well, especially ensemble theater. In Yoruba theater, for example, when they want to bring out the king, it's a song that almost every theater artist knows. It's called Karile Oba Udofeni Gomo, Karile Oba Udofeni Gomo, Ami Ori Loba Wanda. So it's a song that both the audience and the artist can hear. So the point of what really makes non-diegetic sound, please forgive me if I butcher that pronunciation as well. Yeah. What really makes it what really makes it special as opposed to film is not all too present in theater, because music is a very great part of theater. So it's like a limb, It's really music that the artists themselves can render. Is an integral part of theater. However, there are indeed points that it can change the story, right? It can change the feeling of the play, right? So I did a performance last year, December, alongside my wonderful host here as well, Ademola. Diddy, we did a show called Forest of Talking Drums, right? And it's not a musical, but I dare say that it's close. It had a lot of music, but one of the most emotional parts for me during that film would, and I mean emotional, not sad, would not be during the end of the scene or towards the end of the play where we have the death of certain characters, the resolution on love and the loss and sacrifice. One of my most emotional scenes was during the beginning. So in the beginning of the performance, there is a forest, right? I also don't want to spoil this much because I think Ant Hill is who
Trying to restage it or something.
Yes, I think they are trying to restage it, and they did make recordings as well. So for people that want to get a fresh view of the performance, I won't say much, right? But then there is a point in the play where these people have to sing to the forest, but they do not know, right? Or they don't even necessarily have to. The forest doesn't have. The forest is looking for gifts. The forest is an epitome of trade by barter, right? So these forests are thrown because there are these families thrown into the forest because of their defiance against their king, right? And they are in so much panic. The family is asking the father, what did they do? Everybody is in disarray. They are crying their eyes out. And all of a sudden, one of the boys of this father, of this man, starts to play. And the silence that follows is extraordinary. It's like falling through a pit, a chasm, only to fall on the bed of roses, really. It just stops. So now through the play, there have been songs that were recorded and were played alongside actions and all of that. But the fact that it was live, it was the boy just with his talking drum, bum, 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 bum. And it was almost like there was a sort of spirit that followed everything because it was live, because it wasn't recorded. It felt like he was the steward of the play, not the story anymore. It was him. It was him playing a song to abate danger. It was immediate, He could hear it. His family could hear it. He was saving them at the moment, but the audience could hear it as well. So it now brought some sort of direct communication between him, the story, and the audience, And that theater is truly a definition of interactive theater. But for film, I guess before I go into film, I'd like to ask what your thoughts are, or maybe I might have missed anything, or maybe an extra opinion, anything really, please.
Toyosi, what do you think?
I think you were actually able to find a great example for that because I myself was thinking, okay, non-diegetic and diegetic sound in theater, and then you brought this, and you talking about how there was a spirit, and how it was like becoming the steward of it all. I think you've actually taken it up to a good level and given us a good example for that of theater. So that's what I think.
All right. Thank you very much. So for the world of film with these two types of sound now can be very, very interesting, right? Because in my opinion, there's almost a third, or there's like a spectrum, right? And diegetic and non-diegetic are just ends of this spectrum. And I'd like to explain it through a very special animation that I watched. And of course, the music was made by the great father of music, Hans Zimmer, right? The good, really. So the name of the film is called Rango. I don't know if anyone has seen Rango. So Rango is a pretty old cartoon, so I'll spoil this one, honestly. I'm sorry. Sorry?
Do you say Brango or Rango?
Rango.
The country vibe kind of thing.
Yeah, like Wild West.
It's very
Yes, it was a very old. So anyone who hasn't watched this, I'm sorry, I have to spoil this one for you. I'm sorry. So listen with caution.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Okay. So the film is about a lizard, right? A lizard who is, I won't call him a lizard because that's the meaning. He is a chameleon, right? And he's a great lover of theater, of romantic theater, not romance theater, but romantic in the sense of glory, in the sense of theater that explores adventure, really, right? And And in the beginning of the film, we have like a troupe of owls that take us through the film with narration through the lead owl and then the rest who are playing music. Now, the thing is, they're trying to explore what music does in the sight of a narrator. So what a narrator might do in the sense of a narrator speaking to the audience and then sometimes breaking, I guess, the fourth wall to speak directly to the character, maybe in an effort of God in machine or some turnaround for the play or something. So in the beginning, through most of the movie, really, they're usually playing, but the animals can't hear. So that would be sound that they cannot hear in the film, right? But then there is a point in the film where these Rango and his subordinates, they are looking for the water that has been lost in the city, right? And they find the culprits in the distance, and so they give them chase, right? And then the owls themselves go to the scene of the chase and begin to play with their guitars right in the scene. And once the ostriches that are carrying these officers pass by, the wind actually blows out the owl. So that now brings the question, is it a sound that they can hear and they just choose to, or is it that their world permanently has sound and we're just seeing it as sound that is specific to us? Or is it that at that point, the story has taken the owls and their music from the narrative part down into the story itself? It breaks the wall a lot between what they can hear, what they cannot hear. For instance, there's another part of the film in which Rango has a moment of inspiration, but his moment of inspiration does not precede the music. It's almost like he begins to hear music playing, and then he looks up and then gets this sense of strength from heaven or wherever the strength came from. So there is this blur between the dichotomy of diegetic and non-diegetic sound, really. But for film, it can be broken around a lot. For film, it can be played around. Another example would be going back to Birdman, really. So that scene where Edward Norton and Michael Keaton are having a heated argument on the street, there is a point in which we see the drummer himself, Antonio Sanchez, playing as a street performer, right? So from the beginning of the argument, which lasts about 7 minutes. Sorry, I thought I
said a cameo. He has a cameo in the film. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. He does.
He had a cameo in the film. I didn't notice him. Sir.
He did. The one with the curly hair and the beard.
They do a cameo.
So yeah, he has
Carry on.
the argument lasts about 7 minutes, I'm guessing. But then in about the fourth minute, right, when they are walking with this argument, they pass through the front of a local jazz drummer who is being played by Antonio Sanchez himself, in which the drummer is playing exactly what we hear in the film. But then the sound designers are very, very crafty. So they reduce it's almost like, imagine listening to a radio versus listening to earpods. Earpods are more direct, it feels like it surrounds you, whereas radio is coming from a point. It's more in the environment rather than it's in your ears, So what they did is that they tuned out the drums and made it seem more like it was in the environment. And then when they passed across Antonio Sanchez, they tuned the music back up, into it feeling the atmosphere of the conversation, So there, at that point, Antonio Sanchez, and of course, I'm guessing with the license of Inarito, would break the barrier between what is diegetic, what they can hear, and what they're not hearing as well. Because throughout the movie, they do not hear the jazz drums. But then while they're having a conversation, from the beginning, the jazz drum plays, but then at that moment, it syncs perfectly, but they are hearing it because it's in their environment. So it goes back and forth and back and forth. We have a lot of instances of this. There's the Great Gatsby as well. That's God help me, Leonardo. Yes, DiCaprio. There's a Great Gatsby where he has this where he begins to take his friend on this adventure, recounting his stories, and then there's this black trumpeter that comes out and plays the sound. There's just a whole lot there. So in film, there's the ability. Sorry, I think I'm cutting someone off.
Yes, I said yes. There really is a whole lot that we will not be able to end of. You've given wonderful examples so far.
Yes. So that's it. I mean, there are clear-cut examples that differentiate this versus that, but film tends to be more creative in breaking that barrier, really. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay.
So I'm even I'm trying to get into more of silence in film rather than just the score. So Monk, in jazz, the notes, because I'm a big fan of jazz, massive fan of jazz. One of these days I'll come watch your show.
Yeah, definitely.
The notes you don't play. So this is like a yes or no question, right? The notes you don't play are just as important as the ones you do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you
I
want me
think
to give
maybe
a follow-up
probably
on
same
that?
goes for other. No, not really. I just wanted to know if it's like true, right?
Yeah, it is very
For
much true.
music. In our industry, because I'm trying to break down on silence because the notes you don't play basically is silence because you
Yes.
never played it in the first place, right? So in our industry, I don't know, but I think we seem terrified of silence. We always want to fill the space with sound. Like, okay, let me give examples of films that like delve deep into silence. Like 2001 A Space Odyssey now. There are vast stretches of silence, no dialogue,
Yes.
no nothing. No Country for Old Men, like you mentioned too. It's just there are moments where you sit and think and breathe with the character, right?
Yes.
Different films, The Revenant too as well. That
Yes.
one,
It's
you
almost,
can't but have silence in
yes.
what is going on, honestly. So, like, what I'm really driving at is how do we teach directors to treat silence like a musical note? I don't know if that's corny, but like a musical note instead of an empty hole that needs to be filled. If you get what I'm saying, can we teach silence to Nigerian directors? I don't see many movies like that intentionally bask in silence.
Now, so thing is, in Nollywood, it's partly on the account of the directors that we have, but it's also partly on the account of the commerce of things, because the threshold of boredom of the average Nigerian audience can be very, very small. You get it? It's almost like movies nowadays are more of service to their dopamine than it is an experience to what they've not encountered before. You know, a film like The Revenant now, it wouldn't be something that it wouldn't be something that you would offer the average Nigerian and they'll sit down to watch it. The Revenant even has its points of action, really, you know. But imagine a film like say this spring, summer, fall, winter, and spring movie that I just mentioned. It is a very still movie. It is extremely still, you know. Or a film like The Lighthouse. Sorry?
I said I like as you said it's a still movie.
Yes, it's a very still movie. It's not trying to rush. Something like The Lighthouse as well. William Dafoe and Christian Bale, if I'm not mistaken. Robert Pattinson. Sorry, I keep because they both play Batman. That's why they keep juxtaposing in my mind.
Of course, The Dark Knight and Batman.
Yeah. So, but there are films like that, you know, but the Nigerian audience is not all too ready for it, really. So I guess that's why there isn't a lot of expansion on that part, you know. But it doesn't even necessarily mean that your film has to be silent. There is a great example of this in Tokyo Godfathers. I don't know if you have seen it. It's an animation of two men that find a child and then they adopt this child. So there's a part in the film where they're taking a train from one location to the other, and the part lasts about 5 minutes, and it's mostly just silence. And the train is going through the rails, traveling from stop to stop, station to station.
Makes me remember the train scene in Spirited Away.
Yes, exactly. Or even the animation Spirit. I don't know if anyone here has seen Spirit. It's pretty old animation.
Spirit, I've seen
of the
Spirited Away.
horse.
Wonderful.
Yeah, right. Isn't serendipity crazy? But an example
Yes,
too is spirit. In fact, spirit is a mute horse. Well, mute in the sense that it cannot communicate to humans, of course.
Right.
But even in the world of horses, it's one of those films in which they do not allow animals to have their own world of dialogue, and it really just makes the
Yes,
whole scene more lived. It feels
Yeah.
more lived for the audience watching it. The music seems more alive. The action seems more alive. I could pay more attention to the eyebrows, despite the fact that horses don't really have eyebrows. I could pay more attention to the physiognomy, the facial structure of the horses, see what it likes, see what it doesn't like, by how it moves, how it
Expression.
reacts, because music drowns out an actor sometimes when there's too much. Unless you are really trying to explode on chaos, it drowns out an actor, and it does not allow them to. It doesn't allow the audience to breathe, just like Dede Damola, as Demola said. So I guess Nigerian directors got to be given the space to experiment more. The people who might have explored things like this, they should be given more credit, more festivals, more things like this. And the directors who might not have encountered it, the Hubert Ifokubale Film Academy is a very wonderful avenue to introduce ideas like this to them, to tell them that it's possible for 30 minutes of your scene to be silent.
Thank you so much.
So, wouldn't that be a good time to plug in the Film Academy actually?
You know, when you say it, it makes it seem like okay, but I like the fact that you literally just spoke about academies, because I was curious what you think about academies like, Hubert Fokombale Academy doing things like this. This whole podcast itself is centered about the need to have more discussions on film, the world of film, whether Hollywood, or just all around the world for the beauty. So, what are your thoughts on film academies, in general, and like this one that you are on currently?
Well, I think. Sorry?
I said if you could briefly take us through that.
Yes. I think film academies, when done right, they become so today I was reading on the world of Presbyterian churches, right? And now a group of people would go on to outrightly reject the rule of the elders, the presbyteries, and then they'll form their own churches, and that would come to form the Congregationalist movement, in which the what's it called? The parish itself is responsible for itself. It's deeply communal, to the immediate people, and I feel like this is what film academies can do, because for most filmmakers, despite being in the industry sometimes feels so very far away, extremely far away, in fact, and it's academies like this that are able to bring everyone together and tells them you're not as alone as you think, not really. It gives them the avenue to be more in tune with their own people, and it assures them that film is more, I don't want to use the word serious because then that takes away from the fun of it, but film is more sophisticated than we think, For instance, I've got a play that I'm putting up next year. It's called The Great Banquet, and I've been writing The Great Banquet since 2022/2023, so it's about 6 years, and I'm not even done writing it now. That's about 3 to 4 years of writing a play, because I want to think about it. I want to explore all aspects. I'm going to Oshun by the end of this year or the next, because it's a masquerade play. I cannot speak as an audience member if I want to write a masquerade character. So I want to dance with the masquerade troops, with actual masquerade troops, and I'm going to Oshun to do that. So when I bring about the idea of that with people, they're always like, "What the hell? Are you mad? You're going to get possessed. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just film. You can write it. You can just put up a play." But it's academies like this that are able to shape the mind of people and tell them, you should be able to, of course, not go all too crazy, but go all out for something. Have conversations about it. Think critically to the very minute detail of sound, to the very minute detail of costume, of dialogue, like the littlest things. It's academies like this that are able to guide people on that path, that are able to put them in avenues that they can use to meet other people that they can utilize to meet other people, to establish connection, and to see beyond their own eyes. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. I mean, it's such intentionality like that ends up winning Academy Awards. So that is wonderful. At the end of the day, hopefully, fingers crossed, because when you have a platform like this that is dedicated to training and nurturing the next generation of creatives in film and media, just nice to hop on. So if they are passionate about film, they are passionate about acting, filmmaking, storytelling, or content creation, I think this is definitely a community that we want to be a part of. So if you want to keep in, you might as well follow us on Instagram and TikTok at @high_film academy, so you can stay updated on more conversations like this that expand your mind and also be able to get through to other creative opportunities. Thank you everyone for listening so far. Let's move on. Okay. Wow, we've had such a lovely, depthy question answering so far. And now let's take it to the audience a bit. Can you hear me well? I want to be sure that there's no, I think I'm hearing some playback.
Yeah, there's some feedback.
No, I think I can hear you, bro.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take it to the audience a bit more. Do audiences truly notice great sound design, or do they only notice when the sound goes wrong?
Well, so I guess
it will streamline it to Nigerian audiences.
Okay, yes, that'd be wonderful. So I think on that part, really for human psychology, they tend to put themselves in position, or human beings, we tend to put ourselves in position where we want to feel good. You get it? So it's almost like it's expected that if we have invested our time and money into this part, we should feel good. So whether they choose not to, unless maybe their sensory abilities might have been inclined towards other parts, but like that accompanies the story, that accompanies the tension, So in my opinion, at least, for how much we have exposed our audience to and how much they have allowed themselves be exposed to as well, good sound design or good music design would be one that seems so seamless, that seems so inconspicuous, I guess, in the film. The only part that you might...
Inconspicuous might be it.
Sorry?
Inconspicuous might be it.
Yes, it's only in aspects or in genres like maybe musicals, that you might not be able to really dissect or pay attention to the music, but something outside of that, it might not really be the focal point. So yes.
Yeah, Toyosi, do you have any retort, or you should just move it along?
I think we are great. And we can get into the rapids.
It's okay. Calm down. Cool your jets. All right. So, Mom, it's time for our rapid fire round. We are coming to the end of the show, and we have a rapid fire round. Quick answers only. No overthinking. No explanations. No nothing. Just yes or no, this or that.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Great.
Silence or heavy musical score?
Heavy musical score. Depends, but it depends, but heavy musical score.
Let's go with that. Next.
Okay. Locked in. Next. A drum solo or a perfectly timed sound effect?
A drum solo.
Of course, you like a drum solo.
Of course. That's a no-brainer, man. Although, depends on the context, but all around drum solo.
So, vinyl records or digital streaming? I think I know the answer already.
Vinyl. I've worked too much with vinyl. Come on, man.
Wonderful. Okay. Stage plays or cinema screens?
Can I run away from this one?
You can't run away.
This is a Russian relay.
You know what? The question presents as a this or that, but we truly know that you care about both mediums. For the
Yes.
sake of this
We get
conversation, you just have to kill one off.
Well, since we're talking on the part of music, for the part of musical, I think I would
Right.
have to do stage play. Since it's a musical inclined conversation.
Yeah,
Stage.
immersive stage play, music. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Is there any left?
Yes, there are more.
So, do you have any, or should I just keep it going?
Okay, I asked stage plays or cinema screens.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's me. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Na me o. Na me o. Mo na no vex o.
No, I told my brother.
Anyways, Monk, one instrument that best describes the city of Lagos.
The drums.
Drums.
Yes.
What type? Snare drums?
Drums
No,
of war.
the drum set. The drum set, really.
The drum set itself, the full drum set.
Yes, the full drum set.
War.
Yeah, the full drum set. No prejudice towards me being because of me being a jazz drummer now. The drum set just no, not at all. But the drum set just the drum set. Lagos is crazy.
Okay, it is crazy. It is crazy. So now, what is the most annoying sound in a Nigerian cinema hall to you?
That would be people that have watched the film before. I'm sorry, but keep quiet.
You don't even need to finish itself. I already know where you're going, bro.
Please now, please. I paid money. It's not. They shouldn't tell you these things,
Honestly, man.
And they have such
should be
terrible vocal cords.
Right. They should be like private screening rooms, because to avoid people. Honestly, I would just I'd rather go there.
There should be a checklist. Are you annoying in the cinema hall? Yes, no.
Yeah, so before you enter the cinema hall.
Really,
what they tell you to get.
For real. Next, live performance or studio recording?
Live performance.
Wow,
and,
that was
this one is for all things, really. This is for all things, I see I know that I wasn't supposed to explain this. I'm really sorry.
But let's just give you something. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
8 seconds.
All right. So really, I find studio recording as when you are going on places that you can't. In fact, even the studio recording, there's still a sort of live performance in that as well. There's just no audience, So live performance does it for me all the time. Instruments raw. Yeah.
Toyosi, she's currently muted. So let me just ask on her behalf. Okay.
I'm here. I thought I muted myself. So, one word to describe the future of Nollywood's sound. The future or not the current?
The future.
Why are you running from the current?
Because if I say the current, they might blacklist me.
Let's not get it.
The future. Okay, promising. But then the case.
I like that.
It's promising. Especially because of this film, My Father's Shadow.
Yes. I was waiting for one of us to mention this film. Talking about it in my house all the while.
They did well. It's very it's not often. It's not often that you find films like that with such a personal story that holds the nation this, deep. We like romance or epics or comedy, but this is different, it is.
Even horror is finding its place little by little in Nigeria.
Yes, it is as well. It is.
I like it. I like that.
There was a film that I think it was 2 years ago or last year. It's called Suspicion.
I think I know that film.
The one with dark magic. No. It's not a short film. It's a feature-length film. It's about dark magic, and Nollywood is starting to explore more ideas. It's just sometimes it can still be heavily popularity based. So that's
of course. It's not sometimes.
Yes.
Most of the time, honestly.
Yeah.
But Monk, thank you for joining us. Oh my goodness. even
Come to the
against
end of it.
all the forces of evil that were trying to stop us from having this conversation.
Yes. Cast
Thank
and
you for
buy.
joining us. Well, so cast and buy for real. You've
Yes.
given us, pun intended, you've given us a lot to listen for next time in the
Mm.
in the cinema, you know. So to everyone listening, remember if the sound isn't right, the story isn't finished. This is high. Let's
Okay.
talk. I'm busting tonight. Let me not.
Let's get it.
Let me just calm
Bars,
down,
bars.
please. Let me calm down, please.
Yeah.
Please, thank you. Hold your applause. This is high. Let's talk. No more, no less. Monk, thank you so much for being here, man.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate you like much.
Hi, let's talk. No more, no less. We got that good time.